Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today, we're going to talk about currency. We're talking about the currencies that our nation states are using, moves to new currencies, and the race that it's on the next 100 days that's going to push everybody into cryptocurrency. Now, eventually. Now, let's jump right into it. There's lots to talk about. This kicked off with, I've talked about this several times on the channel, but before I dig into it, before I forget, yet again, please, if you like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell in the corner. Really helps out the channel. Let's dig right. Oh, there's going to be an AMA this week too. It's going to be free, I believe, for everybody. More details to follow. But let's dig into the story, get right into it, and let me share my screen. Okay, first off, Zero Hedge once again led off the conversation today. Zimbabwe is going to introduce a gold-backed digital currency. The move is a government initiative to stabilize local currency from continued depreciation against the US dollar. Imagine that other currencies are starting to have issues against the dollar as inflating and starting to hyperinflate. So Zimbabwe is an interesting country to be noting here because Zimbabwe's had a checkered past with their currencies. This was a gag gift for years, but it's a $1 trillion bill from Zimbabwe. And this is from a few years back. I don't think they're even in circulation anymore. Yeah, this is from 2016. This is because they had to revalue the currency hyperinflated. They made $100 trillion bill, and I'm not even sure. It eventually couldn't even buy anything because the currency failed. Now it's become a collector's item. Now you can get them. You can get them certain styles, and they're collector's items. They're not really a currency anymore. But what is really going on? As I mentioned in another video, the Project Icebreaker is out there. Now, Project Icebreaker, the BIS, Unicoin, global currency. I'll mention in the video that I did earlier. I'll put it up in the corner like I usually do. The Bank of International Settlements is working on another currency. Now, this is called Unicoin. And now, not the best article to talk about. I'll find another article. The video that I'll share has more details on that. And let me share the other two articles that I'll drop out of here and explain this all. So, BIS just announced this project called Unicoin. I'll explain that again in the video. While BRICS this is a race against BRICS. So the BRICS nations are working on a fundamentally new currency. Okay, this has been announced that this is going to be a direct competition to the US dollar as the world reserve currency. The deputy chairman of Russia said on March 30th that the BRICS bloc of emerging countries, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, is working on developing a new currency that will be presented at the organization's upcoming summit in Durban. Now, where is Durban? Durban is in South Africa, and this summit is going to be held in August. Why I had to go across two articles to find both these things, I'm not sure, but the 15th BRICS Summit will take place this year in late August in South Africa's Durban. This story talks about the date, whereas the other story talks about the location. I couldn't find one article that had both the location and the fact that they're going to announce a new currency. But nevertheless, we are about 100 days away from August, that meeting. Okay, so this is the timeline that I'm working out in my head, and there's lots of things that are happening between now and then. So I'm actually working on a few other things I'm trying to get you to help you get out of the dollar system. I'm thinking about doing a course. I'll more on that later. But if you're interested in knowing that information and getting a course on how to get and manage out of the dollar, leave a comment down below. Okay, let me slow down and gather my thoughts and get you a much better answer here. So what's happening in the next 100 days? Well, first off, the Bank of International Settlements, all right, and that's the video. Again, I'm going to link it up here. They're launching a digital coin called Unicoin, or U with the 2 dots over it. That's an umlaut. So that's going to be a new digital currency. That digital currency is going to be from bank to bank. So what you're going to have is a hierarchy of banks, much like you have already in countries with central banks. You have in the United States, you have regional banks, and then regional Federal Reserve banks, and then the Federal Reserve at the top. Now, at the top, that's the top of the U.S. So you have the Federal Reserve, that's top bank. Now, to deal with other countries, you have to deal with their central banks, say Germany, France, England. They have central banks. How do you transact between the two? When currently now you use the SWIFT system, let them know that you're sending funds, and the Bank of International Settlements works out the exchange between the two banks and settles it out. That's the point of that's actually the name, the Bank of International Settlements. They are the top dog. So the two banks that I was just talking about here, let's just say England England and the U.S., the Federal Reserve and the Central Bank of England, I don't know what the official name of it is, but they need to transact. So they, like, somebody owes somebody pounds or somebody owes somebody dollars. So the Bank of International Settlements is up top above both of them, and they settle out the two. Now what's happening is that everybody's pushing towards a central bank digital currency across all the different, and I mentioned that over in the video about the BIS. If you want to know more and how to track all the different ones, there's lots of good stuff over in that video. So check that out. But now instead of dollars and pounds, they're going to have central bank dollars and central bank pounds, or whatever they're going to call them. So they're going to have central bank digital currencies. They still need to transact. Now, the Bank of International Settlements is proposing a governing top layer digital CBDC that governs these other CBDCs. That's going to be Unicoin. Then Unicoin is going to be used to talk between the two banks. That is all being announced now because in August, less than 100 days away, BRICS is announcing a new world currency that's going to be direct competition to all of what I just drawn out: the Bank of International Settlements, the central banks, the CBDCs. It's going to be competition, and that BRICS is going to back it by gold. Now back to Zimbabwe, they're backing their current new currency by gold, so they're probably going to be applying to get into BRICS, which makes a lot of sense because Zimbabwe is not too far from South Africa, who's already a BRICS member. So we are looking at two different competing currency systems right now that are going to be here by the end, in about 100 days or less. You have the central bank digital currency system. You have the legacy system, the dollar system. Then you're going to have the digital version of that, which is the central bank digital currency, Unicoin, whatever they're going to call FedCoin, and all these central banks that are being launched this year. And in August, BRICS is announcing a new world currency that's saying, forget the dollar, use our currency, and it's going to be backed by gold, silver. They haven't announced what it's going to be backed yet. It could be the currencies of the nation states at the very minimum. And we already know that the Chinese yuan and the Russian ruble are already backed by gold. So as more countries adopt a backing by precious metal system, that's what we're returning to. That's what we used to use. When currencies fail, they retreat back to what was been money for they call time immemorial, like thousands of years, and that's gold. So they want, and the only reason to have a currency is that it's easier to transact than moving the physical gold itself. So that's what BRICS is attempting to do by having a new world currency, world reserve currency, other than the dollar, which is fiat. It's not backed by anything, just faith in that system, and the fact that faith in the U.S. and the government and the military and all that, which everybody's losing faith in, as we see it around, and it's all crumbling. BRICS is looking to emerge as the new world reserve currency, and it's going to be backed by a commodity. That takes me back to the original story with Zimbabwe. And let me share my screen one more time. So back to the story with Zimbabwe. They're going to introduce a gold-backed digital currency. So if I go to the bottom of the story, okay, you can see how dramatic the hyperinflation is in Zimbabwe already between the dollar and the Zimbabwe dollar. It's just going crazy again. So they're launching another currency. But at the very bottom of the story, crypto adoption has grown in many African countries as a result of economic challenges. Why would that be? Because, now I'm just going to boil it down to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually, it's backed by its network. It's actually, it's real currency, not tangible, but it's real currency. It's real money because you can't hyperinflate it. There's only ever going to be 21 million. It has all the properties of gold. It is literally digital gold. Has every property of gold except the physical nature of it. But it's more secure, it's easier to transport, it's more divisible. It's the electronic version of gold, and it answers all these problems. So these banks are trying to compete with each other, and these countries are trying to keep their power by controlling the money supply and the currency supply. And a retracement back to gold is not a bad thing, but we're in a battle right now. We have a monetary war going on. The next 100 days, we're going to see a lot of things pop up, and there's going to be three competitors, not just the dollar, not just the BRICS world reserve currency, but Bitcoin. Those three are going to be competing for the next 100 days or more to become, and maybe there won't be an emergent one winner, but it's clearly that the dollar is on its way down and other alternatives are popping up. Now, it's possible that BRICS could include Bitcoin as part of that system. That's to be determined, but odds are that they're going to have a currency, and governments that control a currency inevitably have an issue later on when they get off the gold standard. But for now, a retracement to gold, as Zimbabwe is doing, is the step in the right direction. But I want to tie us back to crypto, and this is why we look at all the world currencies and the economics of all around the planet. And it all comes back to cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is the only asset class. Bitcoin is the only asset that has a limited supply. We know how it's going to be created the next 100 years. Then we know how much there's going to be. And that's not true of any other commodity. And backing things, but making that our core based monetary system would solve a lot of these issues. So what are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. I read them all. I look forward to them all. Again, like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Really appreciate it. But with all that said, I'll close the door in the bureau, say follow leader, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.